In any company, there is a risk plan, what I call the risk management. Now, while designing a risk plan, one should list the potential events that occur, which can occur, the probability that said event will occur, the impact of what will happen, and if it does happen, ideas of mitigating the problem and the contingency plan to reduce the impact of that event. That is the whole purpose of the risk management. Now, once we evaluate the probability of an event, that steps taken to mitigate the problem and create a contingency plan, we can then evaluate the actual risks that occur in any company or in any project. Thus, to include human factors, we need to consider what the people might do, how the impact will be on the company or the project, and what we can do to minimize the risk of the problems occurring through human involvement. Now, here let me tell you one thing, that when we are talking about the risk, the capital is a risk, land is a risk, political environment is a risk, the market is the risk, but the biggest risk is everything is involved with the human being. So, human risk is the biggest risk in any enterprise. So, human factors to consider. We have to first, and the last thing is that how do we consider the human factor, human risk? The essential nature of human is that we are unpredictable. While this is not always the case, it is always true that nobody even knows what is going to happen. Thus, in counting for human factors, we need to consider any possible eventuality that could arise when working with people. There are many factors. Let me discuss some of the factors. The key personnel leaving for whatever reason. Those who are in tend to seem committed right at this moment, and possibly it may happen they will leave. If the success rests upon their head, then as an organization or as a project that fall apart without a contingency plan, so there should be another set of human resources should be ready for every kind of eventuality. If we don't do that, then that enterprise will never be succeed, and we have seen in our industrial history. Disagreement and disharmony among the participants. If people can't work together, there will be no enterprise, there will be no project. The failure of support staff to provide the adequate support. Every company depends upon others. They may not be a direct employee, they may be your stakeholders. That depends upon others who are not fully involved to assist in certain steps along the way. It may happen. If the marketing department, for example, fail to advertise a product, it may not get off the ground no matter how solid your action plan or the strategy is. It never works. Any department, anything. It never works without the human involvement. Mitigating risk. Now, if we go on adding the risk factors, it will be a never-ending story. Therefore, we are concentrating the most important aspect of risk is the human. You know that getting the right manpower at the right time is difficult. Even more difficult is to retain them. That is one of the biggest risks. Once all potential pitfalls with the people have been identified, accounting for a contingency plan is the next key step of risk mitigation. We should consider exactly what will be done in any given situation and have a backup plan in place to minimize the damage of the organization. Now, there are many examples which I am not going to discuss here because that may cause a lot of time. The plan to deal with the disharmony. How do you do that? As a leader, it is your primary responsibility to work upon it, how to deal with them. There should be a clear hierarchy of leadership and a clear delineation of jobs to minimize the chances of disagreement. To head this off before it begins. So before the problem began, anticipate the problem, address that issue, solve the issue. Backup plans in the event that those who are designed to offer support fails to do so. Human factor and risk management should play an important role. And it does. Essentially, when designing your risk management plan, your entire risk management plan may go wayward if you don't count the human risk. Along with identifying the other risks, identifying the human factor is the first and should be at the top of your list of the risk mitigation. People and risk, they are the integral part. Human resource must have careful attention if the managers have to have full understanding of their sources of risk and alternatives in handling the risk. Understanding the human resource management and the human resource skills determine the success they will have with people. Like the rest of risk management, blaming others for the management shortcomings neither solve problems nor provide escape from the problems. The good news is that the managers can make human resource management one of their best strengths if the manager or the leader has a very good empathic understanding with people, with the subordinates, and they never take into account their subordinates as their subordinates. This is the most important aspect. The result will be better risk management then, more effective management, and the greater satisfaction of working with people. Always remember, the employee never leave a good company. They leave a bad manager. Thank you.